Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and welcome to, technically this is the second Overwatch 2 beta, where the first one I did an alpha tier list, but this is the first Overwatch 2 beta tier list. But just a quick reminder that this video is all just for fun. I don't know why people get so heated when they see their favorite hero at the bottom of the tier list, or they see a broken hero not at the top of the tier list, or whatever the case may be. Like, this video is just really my opinion at the end of the day. I'm gonna have good takes, I'm gonna have bad takes, I'm gonna have hot takes, but at the end of the day, our lists are gonna be completely different than one another. And some things will change, but that won't be happening for the boy Doomfist, because just like in my alpha tier list, he won't be dropping any lower than where he was in A tier. In fact, I'm gonna be already putting him at S tier. What is this ranking video already? For those who don't know, I always say that S tier is basically must pick territory. So to already say the first hero Doomfist, a reworked DPS hero into a tank, is a must pick hero is pretty outlandish, because, well, how can you already say that he's S tier? And again, like, things will change when the full game comes out, but I do feel like once people learn to adapt with the new abilities of Doomfist and actually learn to either play with the team or not feed like how they would with the original Doomfist, because they no longer have the uppercut ability, then they'll discover his true power. Tanks have so much sustainability in Overwatch 2, and the fact that you have shield on top of that added after melee attacks, I mean, you just have so much opportunities to not die. But then when you use your power block, which not only gives you more protection, but unlocks a powerful rocket punch ability that can still grant you a good amount of kills, there's no reason why you should be dying and not be getting kills at the same time. It's all just because, well, he's brand new and people are still trying to learn him. The cover art girl for Overwatch 1 is up next. I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative and putting her in B tier. I think originally I put her in C tier, but one thing that I slowly realized is that with one less tank and with CC abilities like Brigitte's Bash going away, it really allowed for a lot of flank heroes to frolic and be in the back line and be aggressive. With less obstacles getting in the way of flank heroes like Tracer, Genji, or even Doomfist, there's really nothing stopping these type of heroes from being able to flourish other than just the player skill. And someone like Tracer, while you have to have extensive map knowledge and know which targets to go after, another thing that's crucial for her is being able to, well, just aim with her, especially while being mobile. Now, the cover art girl for Overwatch 2 is up next, and that's Sojourn. And originally I fell into the hype. I put her in S tier because she was the brand new hero and she seemed OP on the surface. And I'm gonna be dropping her down to A tier. I still think Sojourn has a lot of potential and could at one point replace heroes like Widowmaker or Soldier indefinitely, because they're able to do what both of them does in a combined hero. The only issue with Sojourn compared to something like Widowmaker or Soldier is that it takes a little bit of time to unlock her true power, that being her secondary fire railgun. And what I see a lot of people do at first is that they charge up their railgun on the tanks, but then they shoot the sniper shot on the tanks, and that's not really what you're supposed to do. And it's not like I'm an expert on Soldier because she's still relatively new, but what I try to do is I shoot the shield like a Winston bubble, or I even shoot the tanks to charge up my secondary fire, and then I divert my attention to a Squishy, a Mercy, or Soldier, literally anybody, and then shoot my shot. And depending if I'm feeling spicy that day or not, I'll hit a headshot, and that's really all you gotta do. She's very simple, very easy, a simple concept to grasp onto, but I think, again, because she's new, it's gonna take some time for people to realize, oh wait, this is a cheat code. I can literally insta-kill any Squishy, but not necessarily tanks. And here's the Australian boy Junkrat getting a huge rework in Overwatch 2, and when I say huge, I mean not huge. He's gonna be going in D tier because he didn't really get any better in Overwatch 2 compared to his Overwatch 1 counterpart. Junkrat is one of those heroes that if it's one trick by a dedicated player, it can look extremely OP. Heroes like Symmetra, Bastion, or even Torbjorn are some of those heroes that you never face against them on a consistent basis, so when you see a good player playing the flying Junkrat, getting insta-kills with the C4 grenade launcher, it's intimidating. But for a majority of players that are very smart and they see a Junkrat player, they just gotta switch to a hero that can play at a distance or play at a sky, like an Echo and a Pharah. And that's still Junkrat's biggest weakness, is that he's a glass cannon. Especially now with the trap getting reworked to where it just slows the hero, it's a lot harder to get those cheap, easy kills that he's been known for in Overwatch 1. Alright, so we made it to Reinhardt, and originally I think I put him at D tier because, well, so many heroes like Doomfist or Orisa or even Zarya got extremely better in Overwatch 2, but when it came to Reinhardt, it was more like balance changes. Like, he got better in some areas, like he now has 2 fire strikes, but his shield got nerfed. So it's like, okay, well, is he better or worse? And at first I ranked him at D tier. I'm gonna be putting him at B tier. There's less tanks on the field, which means there's less shield tanks to block your Earth Shatter, which means you can get easy team fight wins, because all you really gotta do is Earth Shatter a couple of squishies, and you being Reinhardt being able to absolutely demolish them and be aggressive even without your DPS means that you can win a lot of easy team fights just on that fact alone. And with there being less of an emphasis on like double shield comps or bunker comps or just just protection comps as a whole, which is what Reinhardt has been known for. I feel like a lot of people fell into this ideology that he's going to be useless, but if you be a little bit more aggressive with him, I feel like you'll find that while he won't be the #1 tank like how he was for so many years in Overwatch 1, he'll still be viable. And if you're Reinhardt main, you'll still feel comfortable using him, but maybe you'll find to use a Winston to be a little bit more effective with a more push-heavy dive comp, or maybe you'll find that Orisa can be right at home if you just want to be all DPS but be more stationary. Can you guess what my favorite hero is? We have come to the part of the list where we rank my favorite hero in Overwatch, Mei. Now, after I played the Overwatch Alpha, after I saw the nerf to her wall, and her cryo freeze, and her ultimate, and where they just completely got rid of her freeze for primary form of fire in general, I rightfully thought that she was a useless hero and put her in F tier. But then I started to play her different. That's why I put her in C tier now. But I still have many issues with Mei's rework. In fact, I still think it's the worst one compared to other reworks like Orisa and Doomfist, or even Reinhardt that has buffs and nerfs. Mei just got a bunch of nerfs and one buff to her primary form of fire where it does 100 damage per second instead of 55 now. And that's where I discovered, okay, well, that's really how you gotta play Mei. No longer can you just 1v1 tanks, 1v1 heroes. You just gotta hold down left mouse click and just spray. And that's what I did. I was just spraying everybody, and I was getting a bunch of kills. While it might have been extreme to put her in F tier, I mean, you gotta realize, for 6 years, I played Mei a certain way. I walled off any hero, tank or squishy, I froze them, I got a few headshots, and I got the kill. Now, I definitely can't do that for tanks because they have so much sustainability, but the other reason is that I can't freeze people anymore. So now I have to really utilize my wall. When I wall somebody, I have to really be aggressive and just hold down the mouse click, not even mess with my secondary fire, and that will usually grant me the kill. But again, my mind doesn't work like that because for 6 years, I just thought freeze, insta headshot, and I get a kill. And that's why I thought she was useless. But do I think she's better than her Overwatch 1 counterpart? That's still up for debate, but I don't think that she's that bad, but I'm definitely not ranking her in S tier. But do you know who I am gonna be ranking in S tier? Not Orisa. I am gonna be putting her in A tier, and this is just on the reason of I think she's amazing. The sole reason why Orisa is this high on the list is because whenever I played her, she felt like one of the best tanks to play. Like, I literally went to bed at night wanting to play Overwatch 2 because I want to play the new Orisa in Overwatch 2. She feels way better than her Overwatch 1 counterpart, but even so, she just feels like a cheat code in Overwatch 2 whenever I play. How I played Orisa was that I used my Javelin Spin, one of the most oppressive CC abilities in the game. It's kind of surprising because it's trying to introduce CC, but then I would like spin them against the wall, and then when they're close against the wall and I'm right in their face, I would just throw my Javelin at their face, and then it does double damage whenever they get pinned against the wall and they're stunned. And even if I don't get a kill instantly with the Javelin, those insurance shots usually always grant me the kill. And then plus the Fortify, which gives me even more health and more sustainability. She just doesn't die because she has the Javelin deflecting ability and her Fortify, and she's the only tank on the field. She's gonna be close to her healers because she's not diving like a D.va or a Winston, and that's why I just felt like Orisa was so powerful. Now again, Overwatch League pros will probably say something different, or you guys will say something different. That's fine. This isn't your tier list though. This is my tier list, and when I played Orisa, I thought she was one of the best heroes. So of course, I'm gonna be putting her high on my tier list video. That's the reason, and I think that's good enough. The same can't be said for Pharah though, and remember, this is just Pharah, not Pharmacy. For ranking Pharmacy, S tier all the way, but I'm gonna be putting her in D tier, because the way that I look at Pharah is that she's just a Junkrat with wings. Now again, just like how I said with Orisa, some Pharah mains will play Pharah in Overwatch 2 and think that she's the best tier of all time and put her in A tier, just like how I did with Orisa, and that's totally fine. But the way that I see Pharah is the same issues that are in Overwatch 1 or in Overwatch 2. You're very vulnerable, you're up in the sky, and you have to drop down to the ground or get behind cover, and you're not able to do what you're doing, which is being a heavy output DPS hero, and you're easily stopped by Widowmaker, Ashe, Soldier 76, Bastion even. So many heroes can stop you as Pharah that if you don't have that mercy or have a mommy that loves you with Ana, then it's gonna be bad news bears for you. But featuring Ashe is up next. I don't have a lot to say about Ashe. I do feel like she's a very simple hero that if you have good aim, she could be S tier. If you don't, she could be F tier. I'm gonna be throwing her right in the middle, definitely above Mei, because I feel like for the general hero population, you can find more success with Ashe than with Mei. Maybe I'm just falling under the trap where if she doesn't have a new ability like Cassidy, that it makes him better than her, or if she's not a brand new hero like Sojourn, that Sojourn's a better hero to play, which I'm not saying that's the case, but it's like, again, it's just all depending on the player, and I do think that Sojourn offers more for the general player than what Ashe does. She offers a chance for you to pop off at long distances, and like, There's Bob, which is a big reason why to play Ashe. But the same things I said about Ashe could easily apply to Widowmaker times 10. It is all subjective based on your skill as a player. So if I'm playing Widowmaker, it's probably F tier. If the Overwatch League players are playing her, it's probably S tier. But I'm gonna be putting her in B tier, considering the fact that there's one less tank blocking you from being able to shoot and insta-kill squishies. That is something that shouldn't like be underrated. If you can instantly get 2 kills in a 5v5, you won that team fight. And a hero like Widowmaker can easily achieve that compared to someone like Tracer, where you have to get up close and personal with the team and you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. It also is depending on the meta, so a hero like Winston or D.va can make a Widowmaker a D tier hero, but a hero like Roadhog or even Zarya could be an A or an S tier hero. So just keep in mind that it's based on numerous situations, that right now the meta really isn't like hard set because, well, we're still playing in quick play and we also haven't considered like everybody else playing in the Overwatch 2 experience. But ladies and gentlemen, there is one hero that everybody can find comfort in. If you're an Overwatch League pro, you can still find success with Soldier, and if you're a bronze pro player like me, you can get a lucky Helix rocket and maybe just a couple of shots. Soldier 76 is an S tier must pick DPS hero. I am very confident putting Soldier in the S tier because for the longest time his stock has slowly been climbing, that I think in Overwatch 2, unless they finally bring a nerf to him, he's gonna be staying in S tier because everybody could play Soldier. If you have good aim, you're gonna be good with any kind of hit scan here. But even if you're bad, he's a very forgiving hero that you just need a couple of body shots and a lucky Helix rocket shot. That's really what's so great about it. Then on top of that, you have a run ability which is stacked on top of the 10% speed increase to all DPS heroes, plus a healing station, which even if you have bad heals on your team, you have good heals because you have your own heal station. Like, Soldier grants so much for every type of player that can allow them to excel even if your aim is absolute dog water. I mean, you have an ultimate that aims for you. Can't get better than that. The peanut butter addict Winston is up next, and I'll admit, I let the Overwatch League kind of influence the ranking of this hero because at first I think I put him at D tier, but it's because I didn't like his durability. I'm gonna be putting him at B tier, but under Reinhardt. Now, I want to claim that I think 95% of these heroes is not influenced by the Overwatch League, because when it comes to Overwatch League players, they're an anomaly. Like, they literally eat, sleep, and breathe the same air together. So, of course, they're gonna find a composition where 5 people can come together and have the most powerful composition. I kind of describe it like Exodia. Like, 5 Exodia cards, you get an instant win, but by themselves as individuals, if you take them away and just give them to 5 random people, it's not so powerful. And maybe that's the same with Winston, where in an Exodia comp, yeah, he's super powerful, very aggressive, a great 800 bubble, and now a Chidori ability that got buffed to where it's only 12 bullets. Yeah, maybe I'm falling under the impression that the Overwatch League makes it good, so it's obviously good. Maybe in regular pubs, it's not so good. But I feel like if you're playing together, diving together with Winston, compared to something like D.va or even Doomfist, Winston is the aggressive pick that you want to try to dive together with. Again, I try not to let the Overwatch League determine this list, because if that's the case, Orisa shouldn't even be above Winston. But in my experience, I found more success with Orisa than Winston. But that's the tough part about tier lists. We've reached Symmetra. This is probably one of the easier heroes to rank on this list. I'm putting her in D tier. Now, she does offer Teleporter, which is an amazing ability. For ranking abilities, a Teleporter would be at A tier, but we're not ranking the whole hero. And the big issue that I have with Symmetra is that she's a very slow DPS to charge. And while I said the same thing for Sojourn, at least Sojourn has an insta-kill ability at the end of her charge rate. Symmetra, you still have to charge her on a shield, and with one less shield tank in the game, it's less likely that you're gonna get to that level 3 beam, and plus, you're put in a sticky situation that against like a Zarya, or even a Reinhardt, or a Winston, they can outlive your level 3 beam and still take you out if you don't have sustainability from your healers. Like, I feel like Symmetra is one of those heroes that if you have a lot of time on Symmetra, you can still do good. She can be an S tier here, but for most of the players, you'll find more success with other DPS heroes, and if you're not playing with the team with the Teleporter, her unique ability is really useless because it's not being utilized. Maybe on push game modes, it could be very powerful because it takes so long to get to the point, but other than that, I don't think Symmetra, maybe she might be better than Junkrat, but safely putting her towards the bottom of the list. All right, so I fell into the hype train for Bastion 2.0 where I thought, oh, he has so much DPS output, now he can move, and he has a grenade, and has a fun artillery ability, but he's a C tier hero after playing it extensively in the alpha and the beta. Tanks, in case you don't know, give you 30% less ultimate charge in Overwatch 2. So what do you do if you want to farm ultimate charge? Well, you shoot the next big thing, and that's where Bastion comes in. When I'm playing Soldier or Sojourn or Pharah, just any DPS here that can play at a distance, I'm licking my lips when I see that Bastion because I know I'm gonna get that easy ult charge on a big target that's easy to hit from far away. So all I gotta do is wait out the turret and maybe the grenade, and I can just pop my little head out and shoot him. That's why Bastion is a C tier here. If he had the body like Tracer, if he was a skinny little robot legend, he'd easily be B tier. But that's his biggest downfall. I can gripe on the artillery, maybe that's just due to my inability to be able to, well, skillfully place their artillery strike, but I don't know if it's better than his tank form in Overwatch 1, but Bastion, I fell into the hype, put him at A tier before. Sigma, I don't have much to say about him. I think I saw him like 3 times in the alpha and the beta. I saw him even less times because so many people want to play Doomfist and Reinhardt, so maybe that's the reason why we're putting him at C tier is because I just haven't faced him or played him enough to really have a good opinion about him. Like, we had 32 heroes. It's hard to have a solid opinion about every single one, but the reason why his ultimate's so good in Overwatch 1 is because it could get behind the double shield, but there not being a lot of double shield or even shield emphasis in Overwatch 1, okay, there's less need for that ultimate where Reinhardt has a much better ultimate compared to him, and his DPS output, again, Reinhardt's just way better. Even his mobility, Reinhardt's just small, but like Reinhardt, I feel like is just slightly a better shield tank than Sigma, but even Winston can be a lot more aggressive than Sigma. If I had to choose my second favorite tank in Overwatch 2, it'd go to the bubblegum haired queen herself, Zarya. I love playing her to the point where I'm gonna be slapping her right in the middle of Reinhardt and Winston. The thing about tanks in Overwatch 2 is that they gotta be a main tank and an off tank. They gotta be passive and they gotta be aggressive. They gotta protect the team and provide space, and they gotta get kills. And Zarya can do that. I don't do that though. With my 2 bubbles, I'm only bubbling myself. I'm only protecting myself, and I'm only going in by myself. So maybe that's why I think Zarya is a good tank, is because, well, as a solo queue player where I'm not playing with another DPS or support player, I find comfort knowing that I have protection and a shield regeneration ability that even if I have terrible heals, well, I have a passive healing ability. Whereas someone like Reinhardt, I feel like he's more of a community tank where he can protect the team. But the reason why Reinhardt's ranked above Zarya is because of the ultimate. I feel like whenever you use an Earthshatter, you can clean up your kills by yourself. When you use a grab, you still kind of need your team's help. Unless you have 100 charge and you're able to get all the squishies, I feel like Reinhardt can do more for the team, and Zarya can do more for yourself, which is exactly how I play her. Who here skipped ahead to Mercy and seeing where I would rank her, huh? I know a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people that just skip ahead to the very end, but there's some controversy in the Mercy main community because now they're thinking about making a Mercy super jump an actual ability. I don't really like that, but that's just because I actually know how to super jump with Mercy, but that's not really important right now. Right now, we gotta rank where Mercy is. I think I originally ranked her in A tier, maybe even S tier, because I saw the pocket potential where you're able to pocket a Widow, a Sojourn, a Soldier, an Ashe, whereas compared to healing, well, that's less necessary. But I feel like she's a B tier healer, and at the end of the day, she is all about healing. She's not really about DPS. And when you compare it to someone like Ana, yeah, she can heal, but she can also do a lot of damage. Even Moira, she's one of the best 1v1 DPS healers in the game. Where Mercy, yeah, she's still a solid healer, but that's what she does, is heal, and that's just less necessary. Now, unless you really want to pocket your kitten from Discord, then she's the hero to play, but I don't know, man. Like, Mercy is a very difficult hero to rank because of how someone could play her. If you want to be pocket heavy, I feel like she's still S tier or A tier. If you want to play her just as a healer, maybe she's C tier. I'm slapping her in B tier because I don't want to get canceled also. But I'm not afraid of getting canceled from all the edgy E-boys out there. I'm putting Reaper in D tier. You're less necessary. There's one less tank on the field, one less tank for you to build your ultimate charge on. Even on those single tank, you can't really build your ultimate on because of the 30% ultimate reduction. There's still some place for you to flank and kill the squishies because that's something Reaper can do that other heroes, even Symmetra, can't do, is flank behind and get an insta kill. So considering that, okay, but then again, you can also just get an insta kill with Widowmaker in the back line and not have to risk using your Wraith form and still getting killed. So, you know, Reaper, he's a tough one. I feel like if they just had his ultimate charge cost less, then he'd be an an easy C tier, but right now, I'm putting him at D tier. Here's another hero that I saw constantly being played in the Overwatch League, and even before the Overwatch League, I knew this hero was going to be good. I just didn't know how it was going to be with one less tank on the field for you just to pump in damage. But I'm going to be putting Ana at A tier. You receive 30% less ultimate charge doing damage on tanks, but you also receive 30% less ultimate charge doing healing on tank. And that's crucial for Ana because all you did in Overwatch 1 was just heal the big tanks. That's all you did. You build nano boost, you use your own tanks, and boom, you win the game. Now you can't really do that so much. But that's really the only con. You still have the sleep dart that can sleep any squishing in an insta-kill. You still have your anti-grenade where you can easily focus somebody, whoever you anti, and you still have a nano boost. Like, yeah, maybe you have to build it by doing damage on the enemy team more or less because now the tanks is less crying for heals. They're still crying, but there's one less crybaby on the field. So considering all that, you really just gotta be less like mindlessly aiming at your tanks and more thinking about, oh wait, I gotta actually heal my squishies. Oh wait, I can do damage now. You know, consider other parts about Ana other than just, okay, here's more heals, here's more heals, why am I doing the motion of healing with Ana like this? So you wanna know who's maybe not as valuable? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we reached the piggy himself, Roadhog. After getting a brand new tank with Doomfist, basically a brand new hero with Orisa, and getting a reworked shield tank in the form of Reinhardt, we got Roadhog having 700 hit points, and that's really it. Roadhog is going in the F tier category. Why would you play Roadhog in your only slot of a tank? The only people saying that Roadhog does not deserve to be here are fair people thinking, okay, Roadhog's not a useless hero, which is what F tier is all about, and Roadhog mains, because they say, oh, well, I can get squishy, insta-kill squishy. Yeah, you can do that, definitely. Even though you receive 30% less ultimate charge if you do damage to tanks, the fact that Roadhog has 700 hit points and a healing ability that gives him even more hit points for you just to farm ultimate charge on and no form of protection makes him an F tier hero. Here's a good passive ability to make him a more tolerable tank for your only tank hero. How about instead of giving heroes 30% less ultimate charge down to damage to him, make it so that they receive 50% less ultimate charge and your healers receive like 10% less ultimate charge or no percent less ultimate charge, and name it like Big Belly so that he's just absorbing all the things coming to him. Maybe then he'd be like a C tier hero. Maybe that would be even overpowered or whatnot, but okay, you have to remember, this is your only tank, and you're choosing Roadhog on the off chance that you can maybe get a squishy insta-kill, which is definitely more possible, but all it takes is for one shield tank to come onto the field and you counter Roadhog, and you make him really a useless tank. But you know who I do like in the Overwatch 2 5v5 format? Cole Cassidy. I'm kind of drawn to that magnet grenade. Cause he's a B tier hero. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this a fun pun experience. At first, I really didn't like the magnet grenade, and then I just started sticking people and shooting their body a couple times, and I still got insta-kills, which is why I think originally I put him at D tier, but now he's at B tier. And the things that make him good in Overwatch 1 is still here in Overwatch 2. While it's inconsistent DPS, it's still one of the highest DPS output in the game. And while you still have to have good aim, which is why he's ranked under Widowmaker and Tracers, because, well, if you have good aim, I feel like you're more drawn to Widowmaker. I mean, if you have good aim with Cole Cassidy, you can still get them kills. The DJ, the serial salesman, and the most annoying Reddit user of all time, Lucio, is up next. Not a lot of changes, an ultimate increase charge of 10%. I still feel like he's a B tier hero. I do feel like he's better of a hero than Mercy because, okay, yeah, if you have less emphasis of heals, well, it's not like he's heavily affected by that because he has a speed boost that can be a lot more used now. But then again, you can also be a Reddit Lucio and not get yelled at that much, even though you still will be, and be a little bit more aggressive and do a little bit more kills. I've been saying this for a while now. I feel like going into Overwatch 2, a lot of support heroes and players feel like they still have to be like that pocket healer when they can be a little bit more DPS heavy, but that's definitely not applied to Mercy because she's not a DPS hero, where Lucio, you can do a decent amount of DPS and still be an effective Lucio player. Echo got heavily nerfed in Overwatch 2 passively. The fact that you receive less ultimate charge for tanks hurt her because, well, that's applied to her ultimate, where you're supposed to get your ultimate quick by using your ultimate, but then on top of that, you only get a max 300 health if you copy a tank. So that's why I'm putting her in C tier because, well, the unique part about her got heavily nerfed. All the other great things are still there. You're still able to fly, you're still able to burn shields with your beam if you choose to do that. You're still able to get insta kills if you just bring down a hero down 100 health. Like, all the great things are still there, but I don't think she's better compared to her Overwatch 1 counterpart, that's for dang sure. Torbjorn's up next, and maybe it's because 2CP got replaced by Push, which is very back and forth heavy, which he definitely doesn't fit that playstyle. That puts him in D tier. That's really the only reason why I would be putting him in D tier. I still feel like all the good things from Overwatch 1 is still here in Overwatch 2. A turret that is 100% accurate, an ultimate that is decent but can easily get avoided if the team just moves, and in a push game mode where everybody's moving, it can be kind of difficult. In Overwatch 2, you're pushing a lot more, you're a lot more aggressive, you have a 10% speed increase, and with Torbjorn, I just feel like he doesn't fit that mold. Moira was the hero that I regretted the most putting at the bottom of the list. This is an example of a hero that I just didn't realize you could play in a different kind of fashion to make her a B tier hero, which is where I'm gonna be putting here. And it's on the sole fact that she's able to 1v1 a lot of other heroes in Overwatch 2. And when it comes to Moira, I don't think of Moira that way, or at least I didn't originally, because, well, it's so annoying to see her Moira 1v1ing or being a DPS hero when she's a healer. She's supposed to be healing your team, but just like I said for other healers, you're able to be a little bit more DPS heavy, and Moira takes that to the extreme where, okay, you don't need my heals that much, I'm gonna go be a DPS hero, and she's able to succeed in 1v1s against like a Soldier or a Tracer or even a Cole Cassidy if she kind of keeps her distance and just kind of does an ADS drift. Like, I don't play Moira that way, and that's why I ranked her so low. Genji is the last tier that I can admittedly say I got a little bit influenced by the Overwatch League, but you have to remember that this is a high skill cap hero, that when you have the skill of the Overwatch League players, of course, he's gonna be an A tier hero, which is where I'm gonna be placing him, is in the A tier. I will drop Sojourn underneath Genji because a big reason why Sojourn is in the A tier admittedly is because of hype and belief that she can be a good DPS hero, but the reason why Genji is in A tier is because, well, there's one less tank protecting the squishies, there's also less CC in the game. Like, a big CC ability is Flashbang, where even on a deflect, you just gotta throw it above the deflecting Genji, and it stops him, and okay, you die because you can't dash out of there. Now that's done, and Brigitte's shield bash is also gone too, but now that that's all gone, Genji's can flourish, and it's all just depending on your skill. If you know how to wall climb, shuriken, dash, dragon blade, wall climb, shuriken, like, there's so much going on with Genji that if you're not like doing APM at 1,000,000 miles an hour, yeah, you're gonna suck with them. But that's why he's playing the Overwatch League, and I think that's also the reason why Winston's plays, because Genji's so prominent. You just gotta think that, okay, is Genji good because he's good, or is Winston good because he's good, or is it because Genji's good now? Things you gotta consider like that. D.va's another tough hero to rank. I feel like if they were just to increase the defense matrix time just a little bit, she could be B tier, but I'm gonna be putting her at the top of C tier and above Sigma. Maybe it's just because I'm a better D.va player than I am a Sigma player, but also because if you're going to be playing a shield tank, play a Reinhardt than a Sigma. But we're not talking about Reinhardt, we're talking about D.va. But D.va, I feel like it's more depending on what's on the enemy team compared to someone like Reinhardt, where if there's a bunch of soldiers, Cole Cassidys, Widows, yeah, you can play Reinhardt, but you especially want to play a D.va to absorb all that damage. But you can also play a Winston to dive those heroes and put pressure and force them away off of the high ground. I feel like, again, if they increase the defense matrix to absorb a little bit more of that damage and provide a lot more protection to make her more of a main tank, or even just like tone down the cooldown of her boosters so that she can be a little bit more mobile compared to Winston, she can find her place. I do feel like she just gets overshadowed by a dive hero like Winston or a protect hero like Reinhardt. Alright, so here's another hero that I put way too high in the alpha tier list, and it's because I forgot of flank heroes dominating so much in Overwatch 2. It's hard to think of every scenario in Overwatch 2 and ranking these heroes and keeping this short and sweet. I'm gonna be putting Zenyatta in D tier, but higher in D tier, all because of the kicking ability, man. That's so fun. Zenyatta is very vulnerable, and while that's the gamble that you take for playing such a high DPS healer like Zenyatta, it's still something that I feel like, well, it doesn't make him super OP to where he's S tier. You still have the issues of him being vulnerable, where a Winston dive or a Genji dive can still kill him, even with a Zenyatta kick, but it's still something that, admittedly, I was under the impression that Discord Orb can get thrown onto the tanks and then offsets like the sustainability that they now have, but now in actual execution and playing in the beta, I realized that Zenyatta is just very, very, like, so vulnerable, even with the kick. So Sombra is still a hero that I'm very confused about, and I can't really have that solid of opinion to say, yes, she is definitely a C tier hero, but I'm gonna be putting her at the top of C tier, and I feel like Sombra mains will have a much better opinion than me. Some people will favor the Overwatch 1 version of Sombra, some people will favor the Overwatch 2 version, but no matter what the case is, you're able to have a damage increase whenever you hack somebody, and you're able to hack hack while being invisible. When I see a lot of people do in Overwatch 2 is that they don't come out of invisibility when hacking somebody, so they're not doing a lot of damage. A lot of time, the other DPS on the team will have like triple the amount of damage compared to their Sombra, which makes Sombra kind of a more useless DPS hero. Not a useless hero, but I don't know. Like, when it comes to Sombra, she's a very complicated hero that whenever I played her, I didn't do that well compared to Orisa. I fell in love with the brand new Orisa, where Sombra, I didn't fall in love with. So I'd have to ask Fitzy on how he feels about it, but as of right now, she's like in the middle of the pack of heroes. So Hanzo's up next. Blizzard actually heard my cries when I said and complained that he was an OP hero, so they actually nerfed him. They decreased his storm arrow damage from 65 damage to 60 damage. He's still a B tier here. He's still OP, bro. Like, he's still super powerful. I hate him, but he's still only B tier because they're just better heroes that if you're a better Overwatch player, you'd probably be more drawn to than Hanzo. But Hanzo, he's just... That's all he does all day. So for Hammond, you gotta consider the lack of CC. I mean, Flashbang and Shield Bash are now just completely gone. Sombra's hack, which is a popular counter for Hammond, only lasts for 1 second. That's why I'm putting him at the middle of C tier. There's better tanks to play. I mean, Reinhardt and Winston, and I think Zarya are way better tanks than Hammond, but is he a better tank than D.va? Maybe, but I have to have the last call because this is my video. That's why I'm putting him under D.va. But Hammond, he's still a good solo queue tank because now, even with Adaptive Shield, it got increased by, I think, 50 points per hero. So even beforehand, even with all the CC abilities in Overwatch 1, you can still outlive them with Adaptive Shield. And now in Overwatch 2, you even have more sustainability. So Brigitte is up next, and I just feel like there's better healers to play. That's the only reason why I'm maybe putting her at C tier. I feel like she's more team-oriented, and when you have to organize a bunch of monkeys in Overwatch to come together and play around your healing passive ability while you're also doing damage yourself, it can be kind of tough. And the fact that you get less ultimate charge going toe-to-toe with tanks, which is what you're probably going to be doing with Brigitte, also nerfs her down to the C tier. Again, I feel like Brigitte mains will call her an A tier, which is fine. Maybe that's the reason why I rank her so low, is because I'm not that effective a Brigitte player, but considering everything in Overwatch 2, maybe this is something that will change over time, but yeah. And the last hero to rank in the Overwatch 2 beta is Baptiste, which is more DPS heavy than it is healer heavy, which is why I'm going to be putting her right above Mercy in the B category of heroes. If you have decent aim and you're playing healer, well, you can play someone like Baptiste because they don't have the vulnerability of Zenyatta. Plus, you still have Immortality Field and you have a decent amount of heals. While yes, you're not really going to be spamming it on a more mobile comp, so something like in push, yeah, maybe you wouldn't play something like Baptiste because you're constantly moving away from your Baptiste, whereas someone like Ana, even if you're 50 million miles away, you did your job as a healer. So that's why he's ranked in B tier, because I do feel like Lucio and Moira and Ana provide more for a more mobile comp in a push game mode, which again, when it came to ranking a lot of these heroes, maybe that's why I ranked them so low, is because, well, in push, which is what I played a lot, it doesn't do that well. But to anyone that just skipped ahead to the very end of the tier list that just want to see where I rank their favorite hero and then comment on it and call me dumb for ranking it on that list, well, I mean, I have maybe 30 minutes worth of explanation as to why I ranked it. So something like Orisa, why is it an A tier? Because I love playing Orisa. It felt like a cheat code. That's why it's so high on the list and why I ranked above Reinhardt. But to someone who's a Reinhardt main, yeah, Orisa is nowhere at A tier. Just realize that this is my opinion. It's not the end all be all. Just realize that not everything is set in stone. This all will change the next beta. And who knows, maybe something like Widowmaker will be S tier because maybe they nerfed Reinhardt's shield again and now he's gonna be in D tier. Maybe they buff Roadhog, giving him a passive and make him in B tier. Things will change that'll have a domino effect for other heroes. And it's hard to think of every single situation and scenario to rank heroes because, well, we haven't played every single scenario 10 million times. This is my list and I think it's pretty good. Maybe when it comes to the bottom heroes, maybe I was a little bit cruel, but when it comes to the top heroes, I'm very confident. Maybe not so much with Orisa, but again, that's my opinion. But anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.